Matt Padarini here with the Non-Traditional Pharmacist, and joining me today is Dr. Frank Ascioni, the former Dean of the University of Michigan College of Pharmacy, and he's currently the Director of the University of Michigan Center for Interprofessional Education. And actually, for the occasion today, I wore my Michigan Pharmacy shirt. So we're excited about the interview today. And as a longtime advocate for non-traditional roles, Dr. Ascioni will focus today on his take of the current state of the profession of pharmacy, followed by some emerging roles that he sees as key areas for growth potential in the coming years in pharmacy. And he'll share some personal experiences from his key non-traditional contacts so that you can begin to build your network and make those connections to help advance your career. So Dr. Ascioni, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, I'm happy to do so.
So we'll start there. We'll start with, how would you assess the current state of the pharmacy profession?
Well, the pharmacy profession has actually expanded tremendously since I started almost 50 years ago. And, we used to have traditional roles of community pharmacy, hospital pharmacy, and academia in very narrow senses. And when I taught intro to pharmacy class beginning in almost 40 years ago, when we were exposing students to that, those were the major areas. Now, in those 40 years since then, if I had taught this class and exposing all of you to new roles, there are, for example, if you look at the administrative roles people are playing with Blue Cross Blue Shield, what we call specialty pharmacy roles, consulting roles, there's a whole breadth of opportunities available to pharmacists, pharmacy graduates, which are consistent with the change in the healthcare profession. And those who are graduating now are getting exposed to a rapid change of how we're providing care to people.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's kind of what we see in kind of the trends of what we hear from some of the other leaders and other people in the profession that are pursuing these non-traditional roles. That's what they say. What about the role of, we hear a lot about clinical residency and retail are probably the two most popular, and correct me if I'm wrong, they may or may not be, but how do you see the role of residency training and clinical training changing within your vision?
Yes, we've had a lot of growth, or at least a lot of pressure on students to do residency programs. But people should keep in mind that only about 30% of the students that graduate each year even apply for a residency program. So that means that 70% of the graduates are going out and being employed in different roles. Now, historically, that is the community pharmacy setting, whatever that broadly is concerned. But there also is a small percentage of settings in the pharmaceutical industry and other non-traditional areas where students go. So the real question is, does a clinical residency or residency program, is that the necessary condition for job success? And I would say no. It is a very important role if you're going into certain settings, like the acute care, institutional setting, and academic setting, and so forth. There's less evidence to suggest that it's good for any other innovative setting. And in fact, it could be a negative because you're kind of narrowing your choices. Because a residency program is really advanced practice experience. So you learn to practice in that environment, but that may not be the environment you're interested in. So although I think residencies have helped or advance our practice in certain settings, it probably has discouraged students, particularly if they really don't want to be in a residency program. And they often may think that they're not successful because they were either not chosen for a residency program or they chose not to do it. And that is not the case. And I have many examples of people who have not chosen residencies and have been very, very successful.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It's an option and a great option, but not the only option.
No.
So what are some of those key emerging areas for growth potential that may be considered non-traditional pharmacy at this point?
Well, I think the big thing to think about is, what are the healthcare trends? One of my roles in interprofessional education is to get people to think beyond their specific role. So in pharmacy, we identify with medications, and that's our important role. It's a technical role in the sense of that. But we're also healthcare providers. We get access to patients. We've learned a lot about dealing with patients. And so what roles can we play in those areas and develop it? So for example, if we have pharmacists out in the community, and we are the most accessible health professional, what are some of the opportunities out there? We've learned, for example, in terms of immunizations, we're very good at it. We have the skill set, but we're also there. Other ones such as family planning. A new area that, new but old area that we can think about is as you get more sophisticated medications out there, people have to learn, people are getting more innovative administrative requirements. That is IVs, injectables, and devices and so forth. Well, who's going to teach them how to do that? Nobody has that expertise now, but we could. And that doesn't have to be in a community pharmacy setting. That can be in a family practice setting. It can be in a geriatric setting. It could be anywhere else, because you're not just dispensing the drug, but you're helping them administer the drug and learn how to do that. Then you have more sophisticated medical devices. So what you could say is that anywhere where you're dealing with a health product, not just a drug product, we could be there and act as a very important role in that area.
Yeah, that's interesting. Health drug products and using anything medication related, but also helping on the
health related, not just medication related.
Okay.
So for example, if you're dealing with a device, for example, that helps you monitor your blood pressure, for example, well, somebody has to understand that device. And we have best experience at doing that. And as you know, as we tie in the self-diagnosis with the treatment, and we've done that for many, many times, whether that is a blood pressure monitor, a pregnancy test, any of those sorts of things, tying into, and we're going to get more sophisticated with that as we get to personalized and precision medicine, then us exposed to the health product that's involved in that is a great opportunity.
Great. That's a great take. Could you highlight some of the particular key contacts and key people that you've been or you've had personal experiences with that have non-traditional roles?
Yeah, and I'll start off with for the institutional setting. The non-traditional roles that we can have there are people who have gone through the administrative realm and become directors of hospitals and so forth. And we have a couple of those individuals that have done that. But more importantly, as people have gone into, for example, managed care, we have, for example, James Lang, who's the Vice President for Pharmacy Affairs at Blue Cross Blue Shield. And Dr. Lang started off as a clinical pharmacist in the VA system and then moved from that and gravitated through managed care to the point now is he's managing millions and millions of dollars. And he's hired many pharmacy graduates to come in there and deal with the drug benefit one. And a couple of individuals that are newer graduates that have done that is Alex Tongal, who is working for Blue Cross Blue Shield in that area. And I'm trying to think of people that are working at the other realm of that. But those two people would be good examples of individuals who understand the pharmacy benefit and not only understand the drug part of it, but the fact that there's a distribution system out there that they have to use. So as we get more and more sophisticated at managing benefits, i.e. drug benefits, which is a good example of that, then having people that understand the nuances of a product and the distribution system and so forth is a very important role. And that's what's been happening in benefit design, is you're getting more sophisticated people who understand the economic part and as well as the practice part. So that's one example. Another example is the consulting business, and there's a person by the name of Ruth Updike. Dr. Updike graduated in the mid-'80s and is a consultant on designing managed care plans. And she was a clinically trained pharmacist who went into the role in that area. And so she acts as a consultant. So if somebody is going to design a benefit design plan, she'll come in and tell them the various advice in terms of co-pays and so forth along the way. But again, she has that same experience. So that's an example in the benefit design area. Another example then is in the pharmaceutical industry interface. There's a person by the name of Joan Bradley. Dr. Bradley is head of her medical communications firm. And those are the groups that design some of the communication structures that go out and promote drug products and so forth. And she's been for a number of years doing this on her own. Another example, and he's now retired, but it's Peter Labadie. And Mr. Labadie ran his own advertising firm. He graduated from Michigan in the late 70s with a bachelor's, and then got his MBA at the University of Illinois, and then worked in an advertising company, then eventually developed his own. And again, knowing the science of the product was able to help him design a process. Now, as you move into the community pharmacy area, the one that is done very, very well is Grant Brown. Dr. Brown got his degree, and he was a second-generation pharmacist. His son's now graduation. He'll be a third-generation pharmacist. But he took his family business in the community pharmacy and expanded it to a whole community pharmacy things, dealing with contracting with mental health, IV additive services, and so forth, as he expanded the role of the community pharmacist. And then I'll add another one, and again, he has just retired, and that's Dr. Don Theris. Dr. Theris had a bachelor's degree in pharmacy and then got his medical degree. Was a practicing physician for a while, and then went to Eli Lilly, and eventually retired as Vice President of Global Medical Affairs. But Dr. Theris used his pharmacy background to help make a lot of significant decisions in terms of the therapeutic portfolio of Eli Lilly. So those are several examples of that, but there are other ones along the way.
That's a great overview, and a lot of different areas, which is perfect, and exactly what I think people, either in their current career that may be looking for a career change, or they're currently going through school and may be looking for that career to pursue. That's a perfect list of individuals to highlight. And so what advice would you give to people if they were interested in either connecting with those people or pursuing similar roles that those people you highlighted have?
Well, they have to network, basically. They have to look for those roles. And one of the things that in any profession that happens, and we emphasize that in pharmacy, but in business they don't, is part of what you're doing, what networking really means is really selling your skill sets. And in the non-traditional roles that we have, it means working outside the realm. You've got to go to places where those are being going. So where do these folks meet? If they don't meet the traditional pharmacy roles, then you have to go find them. And for example, there is the various organizations, ISPOR, for example, which is where they have benefit design and so forth. And you go and you basically interact with people and network into it. We in pharmacy in particular are very comfortable with our traditional ways of doing it. So for example, as we were talking about a few minutes ago, one of the reasons why people choose residencies is it's a very convenient process. You're going to these meetings. It's a very good, very efficient, well-run thing. So everybody plugs themselves into it. To do these other things takes a lot more work. And you connect with connectors. So finding out and I used to do this quite often, and I've always advised people, when I found somebody that I thought had something that would be of value to me, I would work very hard to find them and talk to them and learn about them. And that type of experience not only helped me, but it helped other people. So just connecting the dots. And that means doing research. So if you're interested in managed care, then, well, who are they talking to? Where do they meet? Who are these individuals?
Yep, that's great advice. And again, stuff that we see themes now. We're seeing themes of, especially in the non-traditional world, if you're interested in certain fields, you need to find people that are in those fields, connect with them, and actually talk to them and see what a day in the life is like or what the job entails. But building those relationships is so important, regardless of what field you're in. You mentioned business, but pharmacy is no different. So that's perfect. And Dr. Ascioni, thank you so much for your time. We encourage everyone who is interested in Dr. Ascioni's, the roles that he's highlighted, the people that he's highlighted. If you're interested in connecting with these people, please leave a comment on this post, or reach out to us in our Connect section on the website. Dr. Ascioni has a tremendous network. He's here to help. We're here to help you as well. So we look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.